Welcome to EPG Patashala. I am A. Poshadri, Assistant Professor, College of Food Science and Technology, Professor J. Shankar, Telangana State Agricultural University, Hyderabad. Today we are going to discuss about ohmic heating and inductive heating under the course of Advances in Food Science and Technology. So before going to in detail, the objectives of this module is students should learn what are the non-thermal technologies. The ohmic is also one of the non-thermal technology, one of the novel technology, food processing technology. So where we use for sterilization and processing. Ohmic heating is a kind of technology where we are using the resistant properties of the material to generate the heat and to sterilize the food. And a few companies are using, already we are well aware about inductive heating, like this induction stoves, induction heating is coming. So how it's working, what are its function, what are the principles involved, and where we can apply this technology. So all those things we are going to discuss in this module. So ohmic heating means, general ohmic heating means when an alternate current passes through a food, and because of some resistance will be developed. So the current will not be passed through that, the resistance will be developed. Because of that resistance, then that turns into a generation of the heat. So the generated heat will heat the product, and because of that heating of the product, the pathogens, bacteria are present in the food get inactivated. So that is the simple ohmic heating. So the definition we will see now this. So ohmic heating is also refers as resistance heating or electroheating. So in this method, we are passing an alternating electric current through a food, and electrical resistance of the food causes the power to be translated directly into heat. That is called ohmic heating or electroheating or resistance heating. So when pass the current through a food, and the resistance offered by the food will turns into a generation of the heat, and this generated heat will heat your product. That is the ohmic heating or electroheating or resistance heating. So these are the synonyms. And in this case, so what we are doing, so because of this principle, so heat will be transferred uniformly even inside the things, and the same technology can be applied to the liquid foods or dried foods or the food where it contains the particulate material. So we can use in different food applications. This ohmic heating has such advantage. And let us see the induction heating. So induction heating is the process of heating an electrically conducting object, usually a metal, by electromagnetic induction, where eddy currents are generated within the metal, and the resistance leads to Joule heating of the metal. So here in induction heating, we are passing the current through a what you call conducting material. So metal is a kind of conducting material. So we are passing the current through a conducting material. So because of when we pass the current through a conducting material, because of its conduction, so the current will be passed to that and processed to the electromagnetic generations. So electromagnetic induction. From there the food get heated up, the joules will be developed, heat will be developed, so food get heated up. So in induction stove we are using one induction. So in outside, when touch the vessel of while cooking, if you touch the vessel of any on the induction stove, you won't feel any heat. But when you touch the food inside, then you will feel it is warm or heating. So that means, so in outside you won't see, but inside the food it will definitely get heated up. So that is the induction heating thing. So in a ohmic heating system, 100% energy generation and utilization will be there. So whatever the current we supply, then it resistance offers, and then it starts heating up. So, okay, so 100% energy utilization will be there in case of ohmic heating. Ohmic heating is more efficient than the microwave heating because nearly all of the energy enters in the food as heat. So whatever the energy we supply in the form of current, so that will be converted into the heat. So that means 100% energy transformation will be there when compared to microwave heating. So that by that way ohmic heating is more advantageous over the microwave heating. Another important difference is that microwave and radio frequency heating have a finite depth penetration. So here in microwave heating or radio frequency heating, there the penetration of this heat inside the tissues or the inactivation of the spores may not be happen. But in case of ohmic heating, so because of the resistance offered by the food, so heat generates, that heat will penetrate each and every cell of the tissue of a food, then food get heated up. So the generation, the penetration power is more in case of ohmic heating when compared to the microwave heating. So ohmic heating is as having the different advantages when compared to the microwave heating. And in practice, this ohmic heating can be applied to any kind of liquid food, and for that matter even the food which contains a particulate material, as semi-viscous liquids or a viscous liquids also. So we can apply this ohmic heating even to that. So now let us see the advantages of ohmic heating. The food is heated rapidly 1 degree Celsius per second. So in a second you can increase the temperature of 1 degree Celsius, and at the same time, at the same rate throughout, and the absence of temperature gradient results in even heating of solids and liquids if their resistance are the same. So uniform heating, even heating will be there, even the resistance is the same. Next, heat transfer coefficients don't limit the rate of heating. Temperature sufficient for ultra high temperature processing can be achieved. Even if you want to heat your food, for example, if you want to heat a food to 120 degrees Celsius, in conventional heating we are using the steam. So in this case, when you apply the electric current, and even we can achieve the 120 degrees Celsius temperature with this mechanism. Next, it can protect the heat sensitive food ingredients. So it will preserve the heat sensitive food ingredients, and the liquid containing particles can also be processed well by this ohmic heating system. And it is also suitable for viscous liquids because heating is uniform and doesn't have the problems associated with the poor convection in these materials. Every conversion efficiencies are, energy conversion efficiencies are very high. Almost 90% of the energy conversion efficiency we get in this process, and lower capital invest than microwave heating, and suitable for the continuous processing also, even not the batch process, even for the continuous processing. Continuous processing is difficult when compared to the batch processing. So even it is suitable for the continuous processing of the food material, and lower capital investment is required. And even in here the food should contain the water and ionic salts. If water and ionic salts are there, then electricity will conduct through that and resistance will develop, then better heat generation will happen. So when water is there, then better, and the electrical resistance which generates heat when a electrical current is passed through them. The electrical resistance of a food is the most important factor in determining how quickly it will heat. Conductivity measurements are therefore made in the food product formulation, process control, and quality control. Here the resistance of there is a resistance offered by a food when you are passing a current through the food. So the resistance can be measured in this system by using millimeter connected to the conductivity meter. So when you connect them this millimeter, then it will measure the resistance of the current. The most important feature of ohmic heating is the rate of heat generation, which in addition to the electrical resistance of the product depends on the specific heat capacities of each component, the way that food flows through the equipment, and the residence time in the heater. So if you want to generate high temperatures, ultra high temperatures also, we can generate this ohmic heating system. A few factors we should take into consideration before applying this ohmic heating to a particular food. First, we should examine the type of the product we are going to process with the ohmic heating system, and resistance time and temperature we required, whether it is 60 or a 70 or a 120 or a 80 degrees Celsius. So what temperature we require, and what is the time duration we are holding the product at that temperature, and the flow rate, the product flow rate is also important. And next, temperature, how much temperature rise is required, and next, to be commercially successful, ohmic heaters must have a specific effective heating mechanism and flow rates, then only it will be cost effective. So for example, a particular food requires this much flow, a particular food requires this much temperature. So those need to be monitored in the device, then we can use this ohmic heating very well. So in the slide you can see a picture of ohmic heating. So here you have a heating electrodes are there. This food is placed in between the electrodes. So electrodes are connected in between the two electrodes. Your food is there. When passing the current, and that resistance will be there. So you can see in the picture, so how the electrodes are connected, and the product inlet and outlet, the flow rates and the catch tanks and the recycling, and all these things you can see in the picture. And if you see the differences between the dielectric, ohmic and infrared, so the major differences in dielectric energy induces molecular friction in water molecules to produce heat, whereas ohmic heating is due to electrical resistance of food, and infrared energy is simply absorbed and converted into heat. So your microwave heating, you are passing energy waves, so that energy will be absorbed and food get heated up. In case of dielectric heating, because of water molecular friction, that food get heated up. But in case of ohmic heating, resistance, because of resistance offered, will be generated into a heat. So that is a major difference between these three systems. So dielectric heating is determined in part by the moisture content of the food, whereas the extent of heating by radiant energy depends on the surface characteristics and color of the food, and ohmic heating depends on the electrical resistance of the food. Dielectric and ohmic heating are used to preserve the foods, whereas infrared radiation is mostly used to alter the heating qualities by changing the surface color, flavor and aroma. Commercially, microwaves and radio frequency energy are produced at a specified frequency bands that are allocated to prevent interference with radio transmissions, whereas radiant heat is less controlled and has a wide range frequencies. Ohmic heating uses main frequency electricity. The depth of the penetration is directly related to frequency. The lower frequency dielectric energy penetration is more deeply than the radiant energy. In contrast, ohmic heating penetrates throughout the food instantly. So here the penetration is more in case of ohmic heating. The thermal conductivity of the food is a limiting factor in infrared heating, whereas it is not so important in dielectric and ohmic heating. Ohmic heating has been used to process various combinations of meats, vegetable products, pasta and fruits when accompanied by a suitable carrier liquids. So you can use a number of products when you use a suitable carrier liquids in this ohmic heating system. And even you can use variety of shapes, disc, spirals, rods, discs. So in variety of shapes, foods or the mechanisms can also be used in this mechanism. So the basic principles here, the basic principles of ohmic heating is the Joule effect. So how much this electrical energy is transferred into the thermal energy. So the Joule effect will be calculated. So this energy generation is proportional to the square power of the local electric field strength and electrical conductivity. So the energy generation of by ohmic heating process is proportional to the square power of the local electric field strength and the electrical conductivity. Power generated dP in a homogeneous element conductor of a given length Z in the Z direction and area delta A perpendicular to the electrical field E with a constant physical properties. So the basic principle, so it is the energy generation is proportional to the square power of the local electrical field strength and electrical conductivity. So ohmic heating is particularly suitable for viscous products and foods containing particulates because the heat is generated inside the food product. The critical property influencing the rate of ohmic heating is electrical conductivity, which depends on number of factors including temperature, ionic constituents, material microstructures and field strength. So unlike when in your previous classes we discussed that in foods where particulates are there, so where penetration is a problem. So here it can be useful for the even the food contains particulate also. Even the depth is not a problem here because invariably it generates the heat throughout the food. So there is no question of penetration problem here. So that means heat will be generated each and every cell of the food particle, then it will be distributed uniformly, and even the food containing particulates also we can use this ohmic heating system. As most solid vegetable particles have lower electrical conductivity than the liquids, particular care must be taken in the design and formulation of any food products. So even when you are formulating the food also, so if you are planning to use ohmic heating as a processing technology, that time, so before formulating you should keep in mind that the conductivity and the heat transfer conductivity rates and resistance offered by that material, when we take it into account, then we can process the food, we can process that food easily with the help of ohmic heating system. And for better heat conductivity, for example, a food where you add some brine solution or from some sugar solution, so the ions are forming. The more of ion, some acid solutions, so if more ions are there in the food, so better heat electric conductivity there, then better heat generation will be there. So that means, so by addition of salt solution, by addition of sugar solution, by addition of some acid solutions like your organic acid, like citric acid, malic acid or lactic acid, when you add these acid levels, then you will have better electrical conductivity and better heating of the food. Some scientists like Eloit 1999 and Eloit Golex 2000 have evaluated and optimized the low temperature, long duration pre-treatment before ohmic heating in a batch unit with potato, a vegetable commonly used in prepared meals, and cauliflower, a brittle product that doesn't resist conventional thermal treatment. Then they made certain observations that in case of a potato cube, a significant loss compared with a fresh product after conventional blanching at 95 degrees centigrade. So when you use this conventional treatment for blanching of potato, then we are going to lose its appearance, or there may be a shrinkage problem, there may be a foam problem. When you use this ohmic heating, when you pass this electricity, alternate current through the potatoes by using two rods, and in that case the product, the damaging of the product qualities are minimum in case of ohmic heating when compared to the conventional heating systems. So even we can take even 55 degrees Celsius or even 60 degrees Celsius with this ohmic heating system. And some of the technical consideration with this ohmic heating system, especially ohmic heating system has some technical limitation in its electrical, mechanical, hygienic design. So here in food we are keeping two electrodes. In between two electrodes we are placing the food. So these electrodes are metals, and these electrodes may induce or migrates the electrical the chemicals, but iron, copper may enter into your food. These, as you know, iron and copper are the pro-oxidants. That means they enhance the oxidation and your food undergo rancid. So that means, so the maintenance part of it. So electrical rods may migrate this pro-oxidant into the food and further spoils your food. That is the one limitation we have here, and it may undergo, and sometimes water may present in your food. So because rusts may form, your electrodes or starts rusting, or fouling effects will be there, deposition of acids on the electrodes may there. So this will limit your usage of this ohmic heating for different food applications. So in summary, this ohmic heating is good technology, good processing technology, where it can be applied, where for example aseptic packaging is a limitation for certain food, ultra high pressure processing is a limitation for certain food, microwave heating is a limitation for certain foods. So wherever we have a limitation, that time this ohmic heating is the best option, because it can useful for the particulate material, and it can useful, the penetration power is more, and it heats the product uniformly, and even it can be used for solid foods or dry foods or the particulated foods. So we can use in wide applications in ohmic heating system. So it has more advantages than other methods. Even in different states also you can use this ohmic heating, but it has one limitation, that when you place the food in between the electrodes, the chemicals in the electrodes may migrate into the food, or the fouling effect is another problem in this ohmic heating system, and the energy efficiency is high when compared to other, and the microwave heating and infrared radio frequency heating when compared with this ohmic heating. Ohmic heating is more powerful than the microwave and infrared radio heating. To conclude this ohmic heating and induction heating, then this ohmic heating has several advantages over aseptic processing, high pressure processing, infrared processing or microwave heating, because here you can, here the penetration power is more, and the ohmic heating can be useful for particulate foods also, high viscous foods also, and even for the dry foods also. And the heat transfer rate is very high, whatever the energy we give. So what we, as we know, the energy, the rule of energy, the energy is not created nor destroyed, it can be transferred from one form to another form. So that means here whatever the electrical energy we transform to the in this ohmic processing, so it will transform into energy. The energy saving or the loss of energy is less in this, and high penetration power is there, and it can be useful to all kinds of food items, and these are the advantages over other methods. And when you see the limitation of this ohmic heating, the ohmic heating has a one limitation, because we are placing the food in between the two electrodes, and when passing the current through that, there may be a migration of chemicals from, like as we know, the pro-oxidants like copper, iron may enter into your food, then that enhances the oxidation of your food, and then your food will be spoiled early than other conventional methods, and that is the one problem. And moreover, here the fouling effect. So you are placing the electrodes inside the food, the fouling effect may be caused because of acids present in the food, acids like citric acid, malic acid or lactic acid, they corrode the electrodes, and some tannic acid, so tannates may form, ferric tannates may form on that so this is a kind of brown ring, that means a food may undergo discoloration early than other conventional methods. So this is the limitation in induction heating. So induction heating, here induction process, what we are doing, we are applying electrical current by using electromagnetic field. So we are passing the current and we are heating the food, and food get that internal change of molecules, the food get heated up in the induction heating system. Okay, this, so ohmic heating has more advantages over the what you call microwave heating and radio frequency heating and other novel processing and non-thermal technologies. And for further queries, you refer the e-text and you go through journals, sciencedirect.com, you visit Journal of Food Engineering, and you will find the latest developments in this area, and it will be useful to you all. Thank you.